You're listening to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, created to help you succeed in your Security Plus certification journey. Learn more at baremetalcyber.com, where additional prepcasts, books, and training materials await. Let's get started. Specialized architecture models are designs tailored to meet unique, operational, or regulatory requirements. Unlike general-purpose IT networks, these models account for specific workloads, environments, and risks. Examples include industrial control systems, operational technology, OT, cloud-native services, or classified government environments. Each has different assumptions about performance, resilience, and acceptable risk. Specialized models may prioritize availability over confidentiality or locality over scalability, depending on mission needs. Security controls must be adapted accordingly, as traditional enterprise practices may not translate directly. Recognizing these distinctions is essential. Applying the wrong architecture can either weaken defenses or burden systems with unnecessary overhead, compromising their intended purpose. The differences between IT and operational technology (OT) architectures highlight this need for specialization. IT systems prioritize data confidentiality and integrity, with availability being important but often secondary. OT, by contrast, emphasizes availability and safety-first. Systems controlling power grids, manufacturing plants, or transportation cannot simply go offline for patching. OT environments also contain legacy equipment not designed for modern networking. This creates unique security implications. OT architectures must isolate critical processes, tightly monitor network flows, and apply compensating controls when patching is not possible. Blurring IT and OT without specialization risks undermining both operational resilience and safety. Enclave architectures provide controlled, isolated zones for high-sensitivity workloads. These models are common in regulated industries or government contexts, where sensitive data must remain strictly contained. An enclave might include its own access controls, monitoring, and network isolation, creating a hardened bubble within a broader environment. For example, a research enclave handling intellectual property may be walled off from general enterprise systems, with tightly controlled gateways for access. Enclaves support compliance and reduce attack surfaces by limiting exposure. However, they also require robust governance to prevent misconfigurations that undermine their isolation. Enclave architectures reflect specialization in pursuit of trusted separation. Microservices and service mesh patterns represent modern application architecture approaches. Microservices break applications into smaller, independent services that communicate over APIs. This improves scalability and agility but introduces security challenges, as each service becomes a potential attack surface. Service meshes provide governance for microservices, handling communication, encryption, and policy enforcement between services. Features such as mutual TLS, MTLS, and routing control enforce trust within distributed architectures. Specialized security here involves observability into east-west traffic, policy enforcement at the mesh layer, and consistent identity management across services. Microservices demand architectures tailored to agility while still containing their expanded exposure. High-assurance architectures are designed for classified, military, or mission-critical systems where failure is unacceptable. These environments employ layered separation, hardened hardware, and strict verification to ensure resilience. Techniques include mandatory access controls, trusted computing bases, and specialized secure hardware modules. High-assurance systems are often subject to formal certification and must meet rigorous standards. Security here is not about convenience or agility, but provable trustworthiness. These architectures trade flexibility for assurance, ensuring that confidentiality, integrity, and availability are all guaranteed to the highest possible level. They reflect the specialized needs of environments where compromise could have catastrophic consequences. Edge computing architectures prioritize locality, processing data closer to where it is generated. This reduces latency and supports scenarios where sending data to a central cloud is impractical or non-compliant. Examples include IoT sensors, autonomous vehicles, or healthcare devices. Security specialization here focuses on device, lifecycle management, secure connectivity, and resilience under intermittent network conditions. Edge nodes often operate in hostile environments, increasing the risk of tampering. Architectures must account for physical security, frequent updates, and lightweight but strong protections. Edge computing emphasizes performance and locality, but without specialized controls, it exposes organizations to highly distributed vulnerabilities. Serverless and function-as-a-service (FaaS) models represent another specialization in cloud-native design. In these architectures, developers upload small units of code that execute on demand, abstracting away infrastructure. While this model improves efficiency and scalability, it changes the security landscape. Functions may be short-lived but still require least privilege permissions, robust input validation, and monitoring. Misconfigurations or overly broad permissions create systemic risk. Specialized architectures for serverless prioritize identity controls, secret management, and runtime isolation. Because workloads are ephemeral, monitoring and logging must adapt, ensuring visibility despite short execution lifespans. Serverless security reflects the unique trade-off between agility and disciplined governance. Storage-optimized architectures tailor designs for environments requiring massive capacity and throughput. Examples include data lakes, archival systems, or content distribution platforms. Specialization here emphasizes encryption at rest, granular access controls, and efficient backup strategies. The sheer volume of data means controls must be automated and scalable, avoiding manual bottlenecks. Storage specialization also intersects with compliance, requiring retention policies, immutability for sensitive records, and secure deletion at end of life. Large-scale storage creates attractive targets, so architectures must prioritize integrity monitoring and access logging. By focusing on data protection at scale, storage-optimized architectures align with performance while preserving security. Multi-tenant architectures support multiple customers or business units on shared infrastructure. This is common in cloud services, SaaS platforms, and large enterprises with internal shared services. Specialization here focuses on strict isolation between tenants, ensuring that one customer cannot access another's data or resources. Techniques include namespaces, dedicated accounts, virtual networks, and strong identity enforcement. Multi-tenancy must also ensure fair performance, preventing one tenant from degrading service for others. The challenge lies in balancing efficiency with strong separation. Without specialized controls, multi-tenant models risk data leakage and compliance failures. Effective isolation transforms shared infrastructure into a trustworthy platform. Compliance and certification heavily influence specialized architecture choices. For example, healthcare organizations may adopt enclave models to satisfy HIPAA requirements, while financial institutions align with PCI DSS to protect cardholder data. High-assurance systems undergo formal certifications such as Common Criteria or FIPS validations. Certifications provide assurance not only to regulators but also to stakeholders, demonstrating that security is built into design. Specialized models often exist specifically to satisfy such mandates. Architecture becomes a reflection of compliance, ensuring that systems align not only with business needs but also with legal and regulatory obligations across jurisdictions. Observability and telemetry needs are unique in specialized architectures. Industrial systems require monitoring for protocol-specific traffic like Modbus or DNP3, while microservices demand distributed tracing across ephemeral services. Edge devices require telemetry resilient to intermittent connectivity, while multi-tenant systems must separate logs by tenant. Specialized telemetry ensures visibility matches operational contexts, preventing blind spots in environments with unique risks. Without tailored observability, specialized architectures may be hardened in theory but opaque in practice. The key is designing monitoring systems as specific to the environment as the architecture itself, ensuring actionable insights remain possible at scale. Ultimately, Architecture specialization addresses unique operational, performance, and risk profiles. Whether optimizing for resilience in OT, agility in serverless, or locality in edge computing, the design must match mission priorities. Specialized architectures are not deviations but refinements, adjusting general principles to fit particular challenges. Security remains the thread tying them together, but its implementation varies by context. The lesson is that one-size-fits-all designs fail. Tailoring is required for effectiveness. Specialized architecture ensures that systems remain secure, resilient, and functional under the unique demands of their environment. It is a discipline of adaptation, precision, and foresight. For more cyber-related content and books, please check out cyberauthor.me. Also, there are other prepcasts on cybersecurity and more at baremetalcyber.com. Defense in depth must be adapted for OT and industrial control environments because priorities differ from IT. In OT, availability and safety take precedence, so protections must avoid disrupting critical operations. Layers may include segmentation of control networks, unidirectional gateways to prevent data leakage, strict physical access controls, and anomaly detection tuned to industrial protocols. Unlike IT, patching may be delayed or infeasible, so compensating controls are emphasized. Defense in depth here recognizes the unique risks of operational technology protecting not only information, but also human safety and physical assets. The layered approach ensures resilience without undermining the real-time processes these systems depend upon. Service meshes require specialized controls to secure communication between microservices. Mutual TLS/MTLS ensures that each service authenticates its peer, preventing impersonation. Policy enforcement at the mesh layer controls which services may talk to one another, adding fine-grained segmentation within distributed architectures. Observability is also critical, as service meshes generate massive volumes of east-west traffic that must be monitored. Security models here must integrate with the mesh to capture telemetry, enforce least privilege, and validate service behavior. By embedding encryption and policy directly into service communication, service meshes transform from networking abstractions into critical security enforcement layers. Multi-tenant platforms demand tenancy isolation techniques to prevent one tenant from impacting another. Namespaces provide logical separation at the application or container level, while account separation divides workloads into distinct administrative domains. Virtual networks and access controls further enforce isolation, ensuring tenants cannot see or affect resources outside their scope. Data-level separation requires encryption and strict access policies to guarantee confidentiality. In some cases, hardware-based isolation is also deployed for high-assurance tenants. Tenancy isolation reflects the trust customers place in shared services. Without it, multi-tenant platforms risk systemic failures, reputational damage, and compliance violations. Properly applied, these techniques preserve efficiency without sacrificing safety. Edge device lifecycle management is a cornerstone of secure edge computing. Devices deployed in the field must be provisioned securely, updated regularly, and retired responsibly. Provisioning should include cryptographic identity to ensure devices are authenticated before joining networks. Secure update mechanisms, often over-the-air, ensure patches and configurations reach devices, even in remote locations. Retirement must include data sanitization and credential revocation, preventing decommissioned devices from rejoining environments. Edge devices are often exposed physically, so lifecycle management becomes as important as logical protections. Hardened architectures treat lifecycle as continuous oversight, not a one-time event, ensuring distributed devices remain trusted assets throughout their lifespan. Serverless computing introduces unique permission models that must be carefully managed. Functions should execute with least privilege, granted only the exact permissions required for their tasks. Overly broad roles create systemic risks, as attackers who compromise a function may gain access to unrelated services. Serverless also requires attention to event sources triggers, such as message queues, storage changes, or APIs must be validated to prevent abuse. Permissions, monitoring, and input validation combine to enforce strong execution boundaries. Specialized architectures for serverless emphasize governance, controlling ephemeral workloads tightly to prevent them from becoming unmonitored, high-risk attack vectors in cloud-native ecosystems. Data locality controls are vital in storage-optimized architectures, where massive datasets must remain secure. Encryption at rest ensures stolen disks or misconfigured storage cannot expose contents. Access controls enforce role-based restrictions, preventing overexposure of sensitive data. In cloud or multi-jurisdictional environments, locality also includes regulatory compliance. Data may need to remain in specific regions to satisfy sovereignty laws. Specialized architectures embed these constraints into workflows, automating encryption, access, and placement policies. The sheer scale of data in these environments demands automation to avoid manual gaps. Locality controls ensure performance, compliance, and security coexist, protecting sensitive data across vast repositories. Enclave and high-assurance hardware form the foundation for specialized protected workloads. Enclaves create isolated execution environments where even administrators cannot view data during processing. Trusted execution environments, TEEs, and secure hardware modules guarantee integrity and confidentiality. These are critical for regulated workloads, such as financial transactions or defense systems, where trust must extend to the hardware level. High-assurance hardware enforces security at a depth software alone cannot achieve, ensuring resilience against tampering and insider threats. Specialized architectures use these components deliberately, recognizing that certain workloads require provable trust in both computation and storage, far beyond conventional IT safeguards. Specialized monitoring tools support protocol-specific telemetry in unique environments. For example, OT systems require tools that understand Modbus or DNP3 traffic, while service meshes demand observability into microservice interactions. General IT monitoring may overlook these patterns, creating blind spots. Specialized architectures integrate tools capable of parsing, analyzing, and alerting on domain-specific behaviors. These tools must also integrate into broader security operations, ensuring insights feed into centralized monitoring. Without them, organizations risk blind reliance on generic detection that fails in specialized contexts. Tailored telemetry ensures monitoring aligns with operational reality, enabling detection of anomalies in environments with highly unique workflows. Change control and testing practices must adapt to bespoke architectures. In OT, for instance, testing must simulate real-world conditions without risking production disruption. In serverless or microservices, automated testing must validate function permissions, dependencies, and resilience under dynamic scaling. Specialized systems cannot rely on generic change practices. They require customized validation to ensure updates preserve both functionality and safety. Change control provides governance, ensuring updates are approved, documented, and reversible. Without these practices, specialized systems risk outages, compliance failures, or vulnerabilities. Change discipline ensures even highly tailored architectures evolve securely and predictably, aligning with both technical and business priorities. Vendor and supply chain constraints shape specialized architecture deployment significantly. In OT, equipment may be provided by vendors who control patching schedules and support lifecycles. In cloud-native environments, reliance on third-party APIs or services introduces external risks. Supply chain attacks highlight how compromises upstream can ripple into specialized systems. Architectures must account for these dependencies, embedding validation, monitoring, and contingency plans. Contractual obligations with vendors should specify security expectations, patch timelines, and incident responsibilities. Specialized environments cannot assume vendor security. They must demand transparency and accountability. Supply chain diligence ensures specialized architectures remain resilient against risks originating outside organizational boundaries. Governance and operational playbooks are critical for sustaining specialized models. These documents define how systems are operated, monitored, and secured day to day. In OT, playbooks may include incident isolation procedures that avoid disrupting critical processes. In serverless, governance may focus on permission management, secrets handling, and code review. Tailored playbooks align operational teams with the architecture's unique risks, ensuring consistency and preparedness. Governance ensures compliance requirements are met, while playbooks provide actionable steps for staff. Together, they transform specialized architectures from designs into living, operational realities sustained by disciplined management and oversight. In conclusion, specialized architectures demand disciplined design, rigorous testing, and continuous oversight. Whether securing OT networks, serverless workloads, or multi-tenant environments, each model carries unique risks and operational demands. Defense in depth, tenancy isolation, lifecycle management, and enclave hardware all represent specialized adaptations of general security principles. Supply chain diligence, specialized monitoring, and tailored governance further reinforce resilience. Specialized architectures succeed when they account for context, building protections aligned with mission priorities and risks. They require continuous validation, oversight, and adaptation, proving that effective security cannot rely on generic models alone. Specialization ensures protection where it matters most. Thanks for tuning in to the Bare Metal Cyber Prepcast, your trusted source for cybersecurity news and insights. Remember to subscribe at baremetalcyber.com so you never miss an update. And visit cyberauthor.me for best-selling cybersecurity books that equip you with expert knowledge. Until next time, stay secure and stay vigilant.